All of a sudden, my wrist is getting really hot.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. I had a great day.
All right, let's give it up for us, the coolest folk on the planet. Let's see. We're going to be in the course of love. Let's dive on into this stuff and see how much we can go through, because we don't have to believe it, so we can go ahead and get into it. We don't need a period of adjustment, so we're going to charge. We're on page 208 in the course of love, and we are 23:16, paragraph 23:16. And it says, freeing your perception from your nearly immutable belief in form will allow for all changes in form required by the miracle. Form is not a constant, but a result. While you believe belief is the result of form, it is not. Form is the result of belief. Belief is not the result of form. Form is the result of belief. Thus, belief is not only capable of changing form, but also is necessary in order to change form. So to change a form, to change an appearance, to change a form, to change an appearance, to change a form, to change an appearance, I need to change my belief. To change a form, to change an appearance, to change a form, to change an appearance, to change a form, to change an appearance in your life, to change an appearance in your life, your perception of that appearance in your life, to change the perception of an appearance in your life, you change your belief. History has shown you that what you believe is possible becomes possible. Science has proven the link between researcher and research findings. Still, you find it difficult to believe that what is possible depends upon what you can imagine being possible. What I believe, what is possible depends upon what I can imagine being possible. What is possible depends on what I can imagine being possible. What's possible depends on what I can imagine being possible. What's possible depends on what I can imagine being possible. What's possible depends on what I can imagine being possible. You must cease to see the difficulty. You must cease to see the difficulty and begin to see the ease with which you can imagine becomes reality. So I must stop seeing it as difficult to believe that what I imagine can become my reality and begin to see the ease with which what I can imagine becomes reality. What I can imagine becomes reality easily. 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 Easily. Would you say that if you don't mind? Easily. 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 I'm willing to have an easy life. I'm willing to have an easy life. I'm willing to have an easy life. We say a lot of stuff that we don't enjoy saying, so let's just say that for a second. I'm willing to have an easy life. I'm willing to have an easy life. I'm willing to have an easy life. Easy. 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 That's right. That's my rapper name. MC Easy. That's right. I'm MC Easy. You must cease to see the difficulty and begin to see the key. See what I'm saying? They put a little rap in it. You must cease to see the difficulty and begin to see the ease with which what you can imagine becomes reality. You have to put a little rap in there. You have no capabilities that do not serve you, because they were created to serve you. I have no capabilities that do not serve me. I have no capabilities that do not serve me. The ability to imagine is such a capability. It's a capability that was created to serve you. So your imagination was created to serve you. How? Freely. And it's equally given to all. Are we included in equally given to all?
Yes.
Do we qualify?
Yes.
Okay, so based on this then, we equally have the ability to imagine, and that which we imagine becomes reality in your perception. I keep really getting there's what is my perception in me. There's what is in my perception. There's what is in my perception of it. And the Course in Miracles always keeps saying to me that the truth is just beyond your perception. The truth is just beyond what you see and how you see it. The truth is just on the other side of your perception, and the Course defines a perception as an interpretation. So the truth is just on the other side of how I am interpreting things. The truth is right on the other side of how I'm interpreting things. And then it goes to say, for it exercises the combined capabilities of the mind and the heart. So imagination is linked to true vision because imagination exercises the combined capabilities of mind and heart. So imagination comes from linking your mind and your heart. So the kind of imagination that creates what I can imagine is an imagination that's coming from the joining of my mind and my heart. So the more you begin to wake up, the more you want to do things you can get your heart into and you can get your mind into. Most people just do stuff they can kind of get their mind into, but not their heart into it. You're right. That's why they have to literally wheel themselves out of the bed in the morning to go to work, because their heart isn't into it, but their mind is. So you want your mind and your heart to be at the root of your imagination. Whatever I'm imagining, I want it to be coming from my mind joined with my heart. And then it says it's akin to perception and can lead the way in changing how you perceive of yourself and the world around you. So if I want to change my perception of the world, I need to be willing to use my imagination based on my mind being joined with my heart. If you want to change whatever is going on in your life right now, you change it by changing how you perceive yourself and the world around you, and we do that by having an imagination based on my mind and my heart. I keep imagining a world or a reality where it's all love, and it's all safety, and it's all peace, and it's all joy. First I have to imagine it, coming from my mind and my heart in order to see it. It's funny how people think they can keep a depressed state of mind and all of a sudden they're going to see a joyful world. You know, I think when you don't really recognize the truth that you're the one that's creating your perception of reality. I think back in the day when you really think you are a victim and you haven't been exposed to this truth, it does seem like sometimes you can be depressed and something that shows up to make you happy. I think it's kind of like giving us a preview of coming attractions of what can happen when we let ourselves really get in touch with our power. But as you begin to wake up, you see more and more how your reality matches you. It's not like you one way and it's another way. It matches you beautifully, you know. And so we're not stuck. You're not stuck. And whatever it is you're going through, you're not stuck. You're not stuck. You're not stuck. You're not stuck. Because you have an imagination. So anything about what I've said so far? Any realizations, any comments, or any questions? You know, I welcome the things that you recognize also.
Just exactly what I need to hear.
Exactly what you need to hear, Ms. Quanah. All right. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. It's what I need to hear too. Bad. Anybody else? Any thoughts?
Before I got here, I was raising a defense to the truth, and I was trying to get a headache. Now it's gone.
Thank you.
Sure.
But see, you said it just the way you have to say it in order to allow the block to be released, which was, I'm feeling a defense against the truth in the form of an attempt to have a headache. I'm feeling a defense against the truth in the form of thinking that I don't have the money to pay my bills. I'm having a defense against the truth in the form of an argument that I just had with my mama. I'm experiencing a defense against the truth. See, it's like bring it all back to the truth, because that's what it really is. It's just a trick to make you think you can't have peace in every moment. That's all it is. You know. So beyond imagination is the spark that allows you to conceive of what never was conceived of before. This spark is inspiration. Okay, so that's deep. It says first you have imagination, and then imagination leads you to inspiration. So I don't want to imagine anything that doesn't lead to inspiration, because to be inspired means to be in spirit. So if you want to bring spiritual power into whatever you're doing, then you have to have something that you're imagining that's based on your mind and your heart being joined together. That makes perfect sense, though. If you're imagining something that you can get your heart into, it should inspire you. That's how you can tell, in a way, what a person really wants based on what they think they ought to say they want. You know what I'm saying? It's like what excites you is what is really inspiring you. You know, and most of the times, even in classes like this, you can mention things that would be great for everybody to experience, and sometimes there's very little response because it hasn't. That's not something they've imagined, and so it's not inspirational yet. You know, I haven't imagined myself being completely abundant. So when someone says I can be abundant, I'm not inspired because my heart and my mind isn't in that. Most people operate in a survival level. You know, just how can I make it to next week? How can I make it to payday? You'd be amazing, man. I'm amazed at how many people work completely out of their security center. There's like 7 spiritual centers. Most people are strictly in the security center. They're just out here trying to make it. Not a whole lot of inspiration. They're just trying to make it. You know, and as you wake up, you find it's easier. The easiest level is the level of the heart. You know, it's even better than the level of the mind, according to this. And I think that's true. And so it says, okay, imagination, so this spark is inspiration, and then it gives a definition of inspiration. Inspiration is the infusion of spirit. When I'm infused with spirit, I'm inspired. He says, taking the creation of form backwards, it leads to this conclusion. This is the way it works. Spirit precedes inspiration. Inspiration precedes imagination. And imagination precedes belief, and then belief precedes form. So taking the creation of form backwards, it leads to this conclusion. So belief leads to form, imagination created the belief, inspiration created the imagination, and spirit created the inspiration. So spirit creates the inspiration, inspiration precedes imagination, imagination precedes belief, and belief precedes form. So before I can have it in form, I have to believe it. Before I can believe it, I have to imagine it. Before I imagine it, really, I have to ultimately be inspired, and the inspiration is coming from spirit. So really it would make more sense to start with spirit so that you can be inspired, so that you can then have an imagination based on that inspiration. And then from that imagination, you can have a new belief, and from that new belief, you create form. So we just heard how the creative process works. That's not bad for 10 minutes into the class. I say it again. Spirit precedes inspiration. Inspiration precedes imagination. Imagination precedes belief, and belief precedes form.
Doesn't seem that hard, but
I know.
make it hard.
Well, yeah, because we're operating from beliefs that don't inspire us. So if spirit is creating inspiration, then ego is creating fatigue. Because the Course says the opposite of inspiration is fatigue. So if your ego, which is the fearful part of the mind, is in charge, you're operating from fatigue. And so you're doing stuff, but you're tired all the time. Right? Right. All right. Spirit is your more direct link with the one source. Spirit is directly from the source, while form is a byproduct of spirit. I like that. Form is a byproduct of spirit. This form is once removed, or form is further away from the source. But again, working backwards, however, the form you have created is still a step necessary in the return to the source. So every form you have created is a necessary step to returning to the source. So we're all about returning to the source, which is the love that created us. So the form is a necessary step. So the form of your experience is a necessary step in the return to the source. So that keeps me from being in opposition to my form, the form of my life. The form of my life is a necessary step in my return to source. So your life is not in opposition to your returning to source. The form of your life is really a necessary step in your returning to source. That's great. Then I'm not in conflict with how my life is right now. But okay, what I'm going through right now is a necessary step in my return to peace, joy, happiness. What I'm going through right now is a necessary step. What I'm going through right now, the form of my life right now, is a necessary step in my return to source. The form of my life right now is a necessary step in the return to source. The form of my life right now. And the reason why I stop and do that is because that's what you do. You know, We learn the old way through repetition. We learn the new way through repetition. And I hear the stuff I don't like over and over and over again. So it's about time I start saying the stuff I do like over and over again. But I'm kind of waiting for everybody else to say it first. So now I'm just going ahead and saying it, whether anybody else says it or not. And you know what happens? It works, whether anybody else does it or not, which is really cool. It's set up where everybody's got to make it, but that doesn't mean you can't be having a good time in the meantime, while everybody else is waiting to make their decision to do the same thing. You know, everybody. You know, at some point, everybody's going to do this. Everybody's going to say, "Oh, there must be a better way. I want another way to look at this. What could I lose by asking for another way of looking at this?" And I think I'll use it. Everybody's going to come to that conclusion, but I used to think I had to wait for somebody sometimes before I would go ahead and just apply the truth to myself. And then I slowed myself down even more by discussing it with people. Because then you don't have any opposition to what you've decided to do, because nobody knows that you're about to do it, so you don't have to listen to their opinions. That's where I live more and more now. It's like if I really want to get something done fast, I don't say anything to anybody about it. Because I don't want to hear what their thoughts are about it. People feel almost compelled to give you their point of view if you share what you're about to do. Especially if what you're about to do is different from the way that they've decided that life should be handled. The Course says, the Miracle says, like, when you don't share a person's belief system or their belief, they feel attacked. You know, and they do. Yeah, they say something, you don't agree with it. You just didn't agree with it. You didn't really do nothing. Like, it wasn't like you walked up to them and smacked them upside the head. You just didn't see it that way. But I know that's true for me. Like sometimes if somebody says something about the Course that sounds derogatory, I feel myself go, ugh. And I realize I've identified with that thought. And now I think I am that thought. So when somebody says something about the Course, it's like they said something about me. I learned that about relationships years ago. A lot of times relationships that I form through the Course in Miracles class ends as soon as the person is no longer interested in the Course in Miracles. Then I don't hear from them as a friend anymore either. It's like when you work, like at work, when you have your work friends and then you leave that job and y'all were like so tight when y'all work together. As soon as you leave the job, you don't call them, they don't call you. It's like, that's the way Course classes are. It's the same thing. It's the exact same thing. You know, so you really learn as you begin to wake up to let people come and go, let them move in and out. Don't get too attached, because I'm associated with the thought of the Course. So when the Course is no longer interested, I am expendable too. Me and the Course are the same. You know, and it's interesting to watch how you identify with your thoughts. Yeah.
How, like, when you I have a person in my life, and it's nothing intimate, but we clash, and we clash because my way of thinking is different than hers, and I allow her to think what she wants, but I won't let her impose that garbage on me. But I kind of want her out of my life, and she wants to kind of leech on by arguing and trying to learn through that process instead of saying I don't know, or show me, or, you know, it's like and I used to do that, you know, present an opposition and argue about it, and I'm finding out your way without saying I don't know, and I'm listening to you, you know. So I kind of want to get rid of her. And I don't, you know what I'm saying? I really do. I don't want to call me anymore. And I even told her, don't call me anymore.
Well, that's what you do. That's what you do. The metaphysical answer is keep on telling her not to call you no more. I wish I could make a deeper answer to that question, but sooner or later, when you really want her to be released, she'll stop calling.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So in a way, from a metaphysical perspective, you know, she's kind of giving you what you want. It's something. Plus, the thing that came to my mind, when you may not realize this, but it's also she's making you feel very special. Yeah,
she's inspiring you.
She's getting, you know, she's giving me that, you know, you won't go away. No, I can't go away. I'm coming back. So it's like, it's a part of us like that, even though we say it irritates us at some level, you know. And then also it's like as long as a part of me still has that same, I'm kind of like attracted to myself. So in a way, she's you being attracted to your own self, because you said yourself there was a part of you that used to be that way. So you're really getting a chance to forgive yourself for the way you used to be.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And she's kind of funny. I like her, but I'm tired. I don't call me no more.
I'm tired of it too. Listen to you talk about it. I'm tired. We both tired of it. So then what you do is, this is what you do from a Course in Miracles perspective. You say, you call her name, and then you say, I give you to the Holy Spirit as part of myself. I know that you will be released unless I want to use you to imprison myself. In the name of my freedom, I choose your release, because I recognize that we will be released together. Yeah. That's the prayer from the Course that you're supposed to say in relationships that you're trying to release. I give you to the Holy Spirit as part of myself. I know that, check this out, I know that you will be released unless I want to use you to imprison me. Yeah. So in the name of my freedom, I choose your freedom. Yeah. In the name of my freedom, I choose your release. That's the same thing. Like right now, I'm recording the Course. Again, I've recorded it 10 times maybe in different ways. And this time I'm recording it wherever it says love, I say freedom. And that's been really trippy. Mm-hmm. Like special love relationship became the special freedom relationship. And then I thought about that. I said, now what would a special freedom relationship look like? Well, you just free to do this just with me. Mm-hmm. That's special freedom. Mm-hmm. It's freedom that's limited. Oh, you are free just with me. You're free to do this just with me. You're free to experience this just with me, because that's what special is. It's some form of exclusivity, some form of separation. So special freedom is freedom that isn't universal freedom. It's very specific to a person or a situation. So that idea of associating love with freedom, every time I would hear the word freedom, I would feel myself expand. It was really weird. Every time just saying the word freedom went just try. So just the word freedom. I love money. It could be I free money. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. See the difference? I free money is different. It has a different vibe than I love money. You know what I mean? I love my child. I free my child. I love my friends. I free my friends. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you put that. So you imagine going through a whole book, saying wherever you see love, like the Course says, holy is loving. So a holy relationship is a free relationship. But the Course also says that freedom is of the mind and not of the body, which I thought was interesting, because the Course says either you're using your mind to try to free your body, or you're using your body to try to free your mind. But it says if you're trying to use your mind to free your body, then you're using your mind in a meaningless way, simply because the body isn't free, and the body can't be free, because the body has limitations. Right, so the whole idea of freedom of the body is a misnomer. So my body can't go through the wall. My body can't even make any decisions about what it's going to do. So to try to free my body is an unconscious point, and I tried to free my body. And but having freedom of the mind is when you experience freedom in your physical reality, because your physical reality is matching your consciousness. And then the Course taught me that freedom was simply recognizing my innocence. Because if I recognize my innocence, I don't believe I deserve to be limited, punished, or attacked. And that's freedom. So it's interesting. So when you hear the word freedom, it has a different slant with the Course of Miracles and the Course of Love. Because I realized most of the things that I was trying to get, it's like most of the things that of the body, if I wanted to do it, I could just do it. If I wanted to do it. So I don't really have to work hard to be okay with what I do with my body. You know what I'm saying? If I want an ice cream cone, I can just go get me an ice cream. So it isn't about trying to free my body so it's okay to have ice cream. You know what I'm saying? If I want one, I can just go get one. But the trick is, am I going to use the ice cream to make me feel innocent, or make me feel guilty? To make me feel okay about myself, or to make me feel the ice cream is neutral? Yeah.
I'm sitting listening to you and realizing it's like your life flashing, my life flashing in front of me all of a sudden. Like a truck's coming at me, and it's like I'm going to die, and it's flashing. It's like, that's what I'm hearing. And because the freedom has been used negatively in my life by what people, when they say, oh, you have the freedom for this and that, it's the absolute opposite. It has been the absolute opposite of freedom. Listening to you and me going, I'm free to do that. You know, I've used it against myself. I've used it as a tool, a verbal tool, or a mental, intellectual tool to enslave my heart. Does that make any sense? That's excuse me. That's pretty freaky. Yeah. Almost said another word. Yes. But I'm free to do that, right? And lose some friends in the course. But it's amazing.
You only lose people
if you get what I'm saying. I'm having a difficult time. Yeah. Saying what I mean. Yeah. But it's been an enslaving word, an enslaving concept. Yeah. If used the way that I was taught growing up.
And it has a tendency at the level of the world to make people feel insecure. Yeah. You know, if you say I'm a person and I want to be free and I want to express myself in freedom, in most relationships, immediately the person gets really uneasy. We do not associate love with freedom. You know, and at some point you realize what a fearful perception it is. It's like when you start to wake up, you go, wow, we're like a bunch of little frightened children who are clinging to whoever they can in the darkness. You know, it's almost like a person is drowning and you go in to save them and then they try to drown you because they panicking, you know. And that's what we do with each other sometimes, you know. So let's work back again. It says form is once removed or further away from source. Again, working backwards, however, the form you have created is still a step necessary in the return to the source. The necessary step is that of moving beyond form. What does that mean? Now, if you read this book and you see that long little dash, you know that means it's getting ready to define what it just said. Right? So it's like the necessary step is that of moving beyond form. Dash. That means recognizing and acknowledging form for what it is, and then continuing to recognize and acknowledge form for what it is, working backwards to change your belief, which means to allow imagination to serve you and spirit to feel you. So if I really want to go beyond form, I have to allow my imagination to serve me and spirit to feel me. You then can move forward again, taking form beyond its given parameters and becoming a miracle worker. In other words, the body encompasses or holds the belief. So your body is nothing but a belief, and your body is holding all your beliefs. But the Course says the body is a memory. I thought it says the body is never just now. It's always something you're remembering. It's interesting, isn't it? It is. Yeah, that you always that I'm remembering my body as I sit here, and so therefore I see it. I'm remembering it. Wow, that's deep.
It is.
Okay, that's interesting you say that because, like, past couple of days I've gotten this huge aha moment that, like, what you were saying about belief perceived form, that belief is nothing more than like, okay, like I'm the spiritual being, right? Right. Like unconditional love, right? And so this belief is like just like this garment. That's right. That I put over that, and then I embody that belief, and then it becomes the form.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. You know, and that's what we all do. You know, it's like who we realize beyond the form that we think we are, but the form that we think we are is coming from the beliefs that we have. The way I see myself. You know, that's true because everybody have a different perception of your body. Like you might be putting your body down and somebody else will say, boy, your body looks great to me. So where is your body really located? It's really located in the mind of the perceiver. Right. You know, so you really change people just as much by thinking about them as you would if you had physical interaction with them. Did you know that? I can be feeling perfectly okay and I can sit here and I can start thinking about something that my brother said to me yesterday. And then started out, me and my brother was cool. Now I'm thinking about what I think my brother said and what I think my brother meant, and then I start to get upset with myself with my brother because of what I'm thinking about my brother in my mind, and by the time I get up and leave, my brother's a son of a bitch. And notice he hasn't been contacted, communicated with, or anything else. It was just me thinking about him in my mind changed my perception of my brother. So that's one of the ways you know the ego isn't real, because you can change your ego just by sitting up and thinking about a person. You change their ego and your ego too. Just by thinking about them, you have a different feeling about them. So your body is not, your mind isn't in your body is in your mind. And then you project onto your body from your mind what you are thinking and what you're feeling. And then your body reacts to what you are projecting on it. Then the Course says, well, who is it that seems to be inside of the body? Because it certainly looks like I'm in this body looking out, right? And the Course says, the ego. It says it's the ego that's looking out through the body's eyes. So all of a sudden I go, wait a minute, are you trying to say I'm an ego? Yeah, that's exactly what you think you are. That's exactly what you're identifying with. You've lost complete sight of who you really are. You think you are your body now. And then all of your needs become based on what you think your body needs. And then everything you do is based on taking care of your body, feeding your body, housing your body, to the point that you forget your spiritual identity altogether. It's like little simple explanations like that are very true, but they're not deep in the sense that we used to want to hear something complicated. Like, where did the body come from? Oh, I'll tell you where the body came from. It came from the idea of being separate, because you had to be separate in something. Oh, thank you. Very simple explanation. That's what the Course does always through the book. Now you created the idea of guilt and sin. What does that do? Well, that makes me feel guilty about what I do in a body that doesn't really exist anyway. So I'm not really letting myself enjoy myself because of the thoughts that I've given myself about the body that isn't even really me, but I think it is. How do I get out of this dilemma? You learn how to forgive. What does that mean? You learn how to see things correctly. How do I see things correctly? Well, listen to the correct perception that I'm giving you and use it. I don't understand. Right? Did you see it? Did you see your mind? Right? I don't understand. Then the Course of Miracles says to understand means to accept. And that blew my mind. So what you should say, I don't accept. That makes more sense. I don't accept. I don't understand means I don't accept. Because it took me a while to get that the Course, that I wasn't even being asked to make up the thoughts that would heal me. That the thoughts that would heal me were already written out. It was just asking me to start saying them to myself. And I watch people all the time and like, oh, this truth is so hard. I got to figure out what to do. Figuring out merely means you're not listening or obeying. That's all figuring out means. It means your ego is in charge of the moment. Because you still don't get it that nothing that's going to heal you has anything to do with you. In the sense that you got to figure out how the healing is going to happen. You just have to be willing to allow the thoughts into your mind that will help you change it. Because the Course says it's a matter of motivation. The change is a matter of motivation. Are you motivated? So he says a good teacher is a good motivator. A good teacher is somebody that's inspiring somebody, but a good teacher is a demonstrator. So what could be a better motivator than a demonstrator? Right? You know. And I've been blowing people's minds lately in different relationships in my life because I've simply been saying that I wanted the freedom. I wanted to exercise my freedom to do whatever I wanted to do, whenever I wanted to do it, with anybody I wanted to do it with, at any time that I wanted to do it. That freaks people out. Wow. Do you know that freaks people out?
Yeah.
And because first of all, it's easier to start imagining what I might do with my freedom. Even though I didn't say in a particular form or behavior. You know what I'm saying? But usually when people hear stuff like that, they immediately think of something frightening. What's frightening about that idea? What do you think would be frightening about being in a relationship with someone who would say that? Anybody? What would be frightening about being with a person who would say to you that they're choosing to live their life and express themselves how they feel like they should express themselves in any given moment of the day?
My first reaction would be, they don't really mean it. I'd have a hard time with my problems, my difficulties, with my learnings, that I would not accept that they really mean it. That what? They really mean that. Mean that they're going to live in acceptance and love, and in that path. That they want ownership.
Say it again. They
want ownership.
Right. So if someone is saying that,
and I've got a problem with that with relationships.
Right. Is what?
Is ownership.
Right.
And it's because I don't want to be owned.
Right.
And I don't want my path to be any more misconstrued than it already is.
Right.
Is I'm trying to live in a world of love.
Right.
And I just came out of a world where the have to be female owned me, and I allowed her to do it.
The key is allow. The key word is the key two words. I allow.
I allowed. You said it earlier. I allowed myself to be a prisoner.
Yeah.
In fact, so I held the key.
Yeah.
I locked the door behind me, and I was behind bars.
Yeah. Yeah. The only time,
really sucked.
it's always easier to be owned when you want to own somebody.
Yeah.
Okay. So if I want to be, if I want to own you, then I'm more open to the idea of you owning me. You know. But if I don't want to be owned, then I'm not. Then I can tell. How can I tell when I don't want to be owned? I'm not trying to own anyone. See, it's not really real until I'm doing it with you. You know what I'm saying? It's not really real until I'm applying it to you. See, the ego will always be willing to apply it to me. Oh yes, I don't want to be owned. I want my freedom. Everybody here would say, yeah, I want my freedom to express myself however I feel like. But the test of how much I want my freedom is how much I give it to you in my perception. That's how I keep from fooling myself. Because I fool myself if I just apply it to me only. You see, if you apply the truth to, like the Course, I think it even says that if you try to do it to yourself only, you're just going to frighten yourself. It's not, if I say I'm God, without saying all of the rest of you all are God too, then you're going to look at me weird. See, if I'm God and you're not God, then you're going to say, well, Earl's found tripping. He's going into where the Kool-Aid. He's been to break the Kool-Aid. You know what I'm saying? All right. But if I say I'm God, you're 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 God, now everybody's go, we're all the same. So the truth is all the same. The ego is we're not. The truth is we are. So we're going from a world that's based on everything being different to a world based on everything being the same. The ego says, boring. It's going to be boring if it's all the same. That's the ego's best defense when you say it about the same. And it's talking about we're the same in spirit. We're the same that we all have consciousness. We're the same that we all are choosing and creating our realities. We're the same in our abilities and our capabilities. But the way that we express that will appear to be unique because we're in a world that we created to experience separation and differences in. And spirit is using our desire to be separate to bring us back to oneness by taking our individual uniqueness and letting that become the special way we come back to oneness and share it with each other. So love gets a chance to come through me in a way that it can only come through me and nobody else would experience it in that form. And each of us get a chance to give that gift to each other. So we all get a chance to have our quote unquote personal individual selves, but at the same time it's not taking us further into separation because we're using it to join instead of to separate. So then it becomes fun in terms of how we express ourselves. But in a situation like that, then we got to let go of the idea of competition because we each following our own individual path. And there is no competition because there's nobody else just like you in form. So if you were to be true to yourself, you would have no competition. Competition comes from trying to be like somebody else. There's no other expression of God exactly like me. So if I'll just be me, I have no competition. There is no competition. There is nobody else that's going to do it just like me. But if I try to do it the way society says, then I'm going to try to do it the way somebody else seems to be doing it. Yes.
Man, okay, so I'm kind of having an anxiety moment.
Okay. Well, the Course says any perceived threat to the ego's existence is what anxiety is.
Okay, so the reason I initially raised my hand was, but then while you were going,
I can't stop when I'm going. I have to get it out.
I'm glad because then it all got all jumbled up, and so I'm glad my hand is already up. Okay, first of all, I'm learning I never really noticed how much my ego, how big it is, until I started to look at it through this Course. And I can catch myself and be like, oh, that's ego, who cares? You can be wrong, that's acceptable, I'm allowed,
Yeah.
And so through that, I've been being able to spot my ego, which unfortunately has made me spot everybody else's ego. So spirit not see ego? Like, how am I ever going to be spiritual with everybody else's ego?
Well, all you got to do is recognize is that's your own. It's just your own ego. It's like the once I understand that only ego sees ego, then everybody's ego just becomes another way I can get in touch with what needs to be corrected in my own mind. So then they're doing me a favor because they're making me aware of what I need to ask the Holy Spirit, the higher self, not me, my higher self, to give another way of looking at things. So the mere fact that you seem to be seeing more ego than ever actually means that you're waking up more than ever. Because that's what happens when you begin to wake up. You begin to see where you are. It's like, you know, it's like being asleep in a basement full of doo-doo. And and you know something smells funny, but all of y'all, all you and your friends are asleep, having y'all's particular experience like we doing here, and then you wake up, and all of a sudden you are aware of the ego, of the doo-doo, right? And everybody else is still asleep, and when you try to wake them up, they get mad at you because they're still asleep and in the dream. And so at first you have to see where you are before you can go where you want to be. So part of getting to where you want to be is recognizing where you think you are and being willing to go out of the doo-doo now. Because now you see that you put yourself there, you've been the one lying in it, nobody put you in it, but you also see at the same time you can get up and leave. And you can also be supportive of your friends who still want to sleep in it by not attacking them in their sleep. In a sense, you're like their protector. But you can't wake them up before they're ready to wake up, because if you try to wake somebody up before they're ready, they attack you as part of their nightmare dream. And you'll learn that really quick, because you'll be like, well, why can't I just get my mother, father, sister, brother, boyfriend, girlfriend to kind of get this? You know, it's like anything else. You know, they have to do it in their own time. You can't force somebody into an awakening just because you're ready for it to be different. And that's where people make mistakes in their relationships. Well, actually, it would be easier to just let the natural order of things happen and watch your new level of consciousness draw to you someone who's perfect for you where you are right now. And if your consciousness keeps changing, the other person's going to leave anyway or go in some other direction where they can be matched also. Whenever it looks like relationship is going to hell, it just simply means you've learned as much as you can with that person at this time, and it's time for you to now bless it and release it and allow the next thing that's even better to come into your life, which is waiting behind your obsession with keeping it the way it already is that's not working. You know, and the part of me that's obsessed with doing that is the part of me that still believes I don't deserve to be happy. So, that's the part of me that's still obsessed with that.
So
yes.
Use your analogy that and to try to address that, like when you wake up and you see that everybody's still asleep and you smell the doo-doo, and you're angry because you smell it and they're not.
Okay, if you're angry, then you're still asleep in the too.
Okay, but
all right, now I always remember that. If you are reacting with anger in any situation, then you're just as much in an unconscious state as the person that you're getting upset with. And that's another ego trick.
But I'm saying, if you're judging them as they're asleep, and think that there's a difference between you and them because you're woke, now you're awake and they're still asleep. If you think there's a difference, then you're still in the doo-doo.
Yeah. Anytime you think you're different, you're still in it.
I think that the fact that they are in the doo-doo asleep can harm me.
Right.
I'm threatened.
They were much more threatening when you didn't know it.
See,
it's like I'm much more able to avoid a tiger that I'm aware is there than one that I don't know is there. So one of the ego tricks is to try to make us think that somehow or another becoming more awake it puts us in some kind of danger, or that if you're in a world where everybody attacks but you decide to be peaceful, that everybody's going to run over you and take advantage of you. These are all the little tricks that the old self plays on us to try to keep us. But the truth is, if you are truly coming from a peaceful place, you're going to experience a new perception of your world and a new experience of your world. You will be in the world but not of the world. And then every now and then you're going to kick your butt because you still haven't completely forgiven every aspect of your mind yet. So sometimes you'll still draw some stuff that'll be a little hellacious in your perception to yourself, but you should be gentle with yourself because you are really doing great. Just the mere fact that you're willing to say, I'm willing to look at this differently. it means you are way ahead of the game. The highest level of consciousness that the ego can be on is a level where you begin to recognize you may not be what you think you are. And you may not be who you think you are. And you may not be who you were programmed to think you are. That's the highest level of consciousness that the ego mind can get to, where you go, you know, this might not be the truth. So what I'm sharing with you is that as you see that, that's a great opportunity to practice that prayer I just gave a little while ago. You can give them to the Holy Spirit as part of yourself. And know that you will be released unless you want to use them to imprison yourself. And if you're getting angry at them, you're just getting angry at them because they're doing something that you yourself still do at some level. Like I found out, if I get angry at you for still seeming like you're so unconscious, that's me getting angry at myself for all the times I've done that. See, everything you're getting angry at somebody about is always something you've done or are doing or will do. It's like it's impossible for it to be anything else, so you wouldn't be getting upset. You know, you're really getting mad at yourself because you know you're totally capable of doing something just as stupid as you think they're doing. But we try to feel good by projecting it on them, seeing ourselves as different and not like them, and then that keeps.
That's worse ego.
Yeah. What?
That's almost worse ego to think I'm awoken and you're not.
To think you're awake
I
and you're
can
not.
judge you. Like, oh, I'm more awoken.
Yeah.
Because I'm aware of the ego.
Yeah,
but actually, I have a worse.
The minute you go into superiority, inferiority, you know you're in your ego. That's you know, superiority, inferiority. That doesn't mean equal. That doesn't mean the same. So that I must be in my ego, because I'm still seeing the difference between me and you. There's nothing you're capable of, and I'm not capable of. I just might choose not to act on it. That's all. I can do. I'm capable of anything any other human being is capable of. I just might not act on the thought. Some people have the thought of attacking someone and they do it. But I have the thought of attacking and I don't do it. That's the only difference. I'm choosing not to, you chose to do it. And as long as I keep acting like you don't have qualities that I have and I have qualities that you don't have, then those kind of people are going to keep on showing up in my life until I get to the point that I realize we're not different, and that's forgiveness. We are the same. We're innocent, acting according to what we've been taught and what we believe. You know, I'm gonna take one more. And I got a little bit of this I want to answer, but I want to finish with you.
Okay, so then you were, and I'm sorry to be like this, but
no, you're just asking what anybody's wondering.
Okay, so you said some, and it's come up before that, like, our biggest problem is that we don't know who we are.
Right.
We have a wrong perception of who we are.
Right.
And I'm always trying to figure out who I am because I think I don't know, but I'm trying to fucking define it. Sorry about my mouth. And can I just give up on that? And is it okay that I have absolutely no idea who I am?
That's where peace. That's where your peace is located.
And I don't have to figure it out.
Your peace is located in I don't know, because the Course says saying I don't know is actually a request for the part of you that does know to finally get a chance to do something in your life. I don't know is the statement that you make when you're trying to take all the conditions off the answer. I know is totally conclusionary. So as soon as you say I know, then you're going to exclude anything that's different from what you come up with your I know. So the real answer could be able to get to you a lot easier than the way you decided it should come. But you know now. So there's no reason for the universe to help you, support you, inform you, anything. So you know. It's like sometimes people come for sessions and they'll say, I know I'm doing this, and I know I'm creating my reality, and I know and I know, and they go down home, and I know I'm doing it, I know I'm doing it. And it's like, see, that's why you're in this dilemma, because you think you know. You would get the situation solved quickly if you walked in the door and said, I don't know anything. I don't know what this relationship is for. I don't know what I'm for. I don't know anything. That's the statement of a totally open mind. I don't know. Now there is room. But most people don't ask honest questions. Most people ask questions with the answer already in their mind, and they're looking for you to validate the point of view that they're getting ready to give you. How do you know that's true? Because as soon as you give them the answer, they say, yes, but. So if you didn't already have some idea, that wouldn't be a yes, but. So you really didn't ask an honest question where you didn't already have an idea in mind. What you really did was made a statement in the form of a question. You really wanted to make a statement, but you faked like it was a question. Or you wouldn't have a yes, but. And then wherever you're most unhappy is actually where you don't know the most. Where most people are upset is where they think they're absolutely sure about what's going on. And the truth to tell you is just the opposite. I'm really angry. I don't know what's going on. I'm really angry. I'm not perceiving this correctly. So what it used to be, I'm really angry, so I must be right about what I think you're doing, because I wouldn't be upset for nothing. You see what I'm saying? So the old thought system says your anger is your proof of your self-righteousness. The new thought system says your anger is the proof that you're not practicing the truth in this situation, or you wouldn't feel like you were a victim in it, and you would know you were the one that's choosing the way that you're seeing it, and the way that you're seeing is to determine how you're feeling. So you would change the way you feel by just changing the way you were looking at it, which don't have nothing to do with the other person at all. You wouldn't even need to talk to them to feel good. As a matter of fact, this might be how you feel good. Is that you don't talk to them at all. But if you're determined to punish yourself, then you'll be convinced that you got to manipulate the outer situation until you get the outcome that you want. The universe is not going to help you, simply because the universe would never want to convince you that your happiness depends on something outside of yourself. So the universe isn't going to even help you believe even more that your happiness depends on changing that person. That's why the harder you try to change them, the less cooperative they are, because they're trying to save you from the illusion that your happiness depends on controlling everybody else's behavior. So the once you get on a higher level of consciousness, you'll find that every time you try to elicit the help of the universe to deceive yourself, you don't get no help. So what would be deceiving myself? For me to say my happiness lies in you. And so therefore I got to get you to be a certain way in order for me to be happy. That's convincing me that my happiness is not within, it's outside me. Now the whole message of spirit is that your happiness comes from within and your connection to source. So why would I help you further believe that it's something outside of you that you need in order for you to be happy? So you got to do that by yourself. And that's why people work on relationships like that by themselves. And it's such a struggle. You're right. The universe is not going to help you deceive yourself into thinking that you got to have this person, this situation, this circumstance for you to be happy. Because that's how you're deceiving yourself, and that's where your sadness is coming from. That misperception that your happiness comes from anywhere other than your relationship to source and to yourself. So if a person says they want to wake up and be more spiritual, that's not the same as saying I want to manifest a car. That's the same as saying I want to manifest 10 pounds and I'm losing. Manifesting and spirituality are completely two different things. When you say I want to know the truth, now you're talking about some serious stuff to come down. Because that means every place that you are deceiving yourself, every place you got a false idea, every place in your life that's an illusion, it's going to reveal itself to you. If you say you want to manifest a car, that's one thing. But if you say I want to know the truth, then you're talking about getting freaked out at what you're about to recognize about how you're deceiving yourself most of the time about everything. So be aware when there's a difference between saying I want to be a spiritual being that wakes up to who I really am, and saying I want to have a person to go to the party with on Saturday night. Can you manifest that for me, God? That's two different things. Manifesting and spiritual awakening are not the same thing. Manifesting is just a byproduct of your ability as a spiritual being. It's just like you got the ability to walk across the room or whatever. It's just another ability. That's all manifesting is. It's not your identity. It doesn't really have anything to do with who you really are. And how do you know when you lost sight of who you really are? Fear. Great clue. You're feeling a lack of peace. That might be your clue that maybe, just maybe, you're not seeing things correctly. And like that whole thing about you, like you were saying earlier about figuring it out. I'm really trying to get beyond figuring it out and understand that the answers are already being provided. I just need to accept them or just practice them without accepting them. Because if it's the truth, you don't have to believe it. That's what makes the truth so cool. If it's true, it just is. So it has nothing to do with my belief. I want the easy way. I want what doesn't call for my belief. Oh, well, I don't have to believe in what is. I have to believe in what is not. Belief is an ego function. The belief is only of the ego, because belief is something that you're not certain about, and truth is certain.
Right.
Truth is certain. It's not guessing. It's not wondering. It's not changing. It's certain.
It's knowing.
And that's what knowing is. Knowing is certainty. Yeah.
Now, Earl, and I've been hanging on to this. Back when you were saying that you're at the point where, like, you're free to do whatever with anyone, and you asked us what our reaction to that was. Well, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, okay, tell me about it.
I was I was very disturbed by that because I was like, okay, so he's doing whatever with everyone. Well, what if he hooks up with someone that's special to me? And what is he going to be doing with that person that's special to me?
Right, I was gonna say sex too.
Yeah. Well,
Oh, that's what most people thought when they said it or not. But
Yeah.
Right to my mind is
right, sex, right. When
Yeah.
you said freedom, it's what are you going to do with your body when somebody else's
Right.
body comes to people's
Yeah.
mind. Where actually, when you say freedom, you're just saying that you want to be able to, well, at least when I say it to me, I'm just saying I want to be able to show up authentically in every moment, and in every moment feel innocent about what I choose to do in that moment. I didn't say I knew what was happening in that moment, and I didn't say I had planned what was going to happen in that moment. I just said that I wanted to be able to show up authentically in that moment without guilt. Without making myself feel guilty about doing what I believe is right for me in that moment. Because if you're beginning to become conscious, the one thing you know is the only thing you're going to ever have is now. So it's only now that you can decide to see yourself with some innocence. And if you set it up where there are so many conditions on how you can express yourself in the now, how can you truly be authentic and show up as you are when you're so scared about how your action is going to affect everything and everybody around you, and you might lose someone's love as a result of that? How are you going to show up fully when it's based on fear of loss? You know, who's going to see you if you're afraid? You know, that's why sometimes when people don't have any fear, they feel like they don't have anything to lose, that's when they tell you the truth. That's why right at the end of relationships, you find out what the person really thinks. They don't care. They don't care anymore whether or not you stick around or not. So they're going to say exactly what they feel. You know, if a person is angry, anger is when the ego tells the truth. Peace is when spirit tells the truth.
Wait, can you say that again?
Okay, an angry ego is an honest ego. Because an angry ego is going to tell you every single thing about you that's upsetting to them. So when you get angry, you'll say things in anger that you don't say any other time. And later on you want to come back and renege on it. Generally, well, you know, I didn't really mean when I thought I said you was a selfish bastard. That wasn't really the truth. Right? That's not really but the truth is that's exactly how you felt in that moment. That was about probably the most honest expression that they've ever gotten from you in the whole relationship. Was in that moment. And it doesn't mean that that's what you are, but the ego is honestly saying how it feels. The part that wants to control is saying how it feels in that moment. And if it's a real relationship, then what you do is you allow that ego to express without you attacking back or defending yourself, so that ego can evaporate. Because without any kind of defense against it, it just fades away. If a person really felt like they could say anything to you and you wouldn't attack them really, and you would still continue to love them, then eventually they stop attacking you at all. They couldn't even get the energy up to attack you. Because their feeling of security in their relationship with you would be so great that they would realize they were making their own selves mad, because you're not responding in any kind of anger. So they'll see it's their own anger, and it's just fear. It's just fear of loss. That's all it is. It's anger is just, you're not acting on my script right now. And I'm trying to make you feel guilty as hell so that you would do it. Because in the world I learned if you can make somebody feel guilty about what they're doing, they'll finally kind of give in and maybe do what you want them to do. So I'm going to get angry so you'll feel so bad you'll finally cave in and do what I want you to do. You know, because I do that. Right?
Oh, yeah.
That's all anger is. It's nothing but, I want you to do it my way and you're not acting up my script. And so now I'm going to withdraw my love and contract from you, and by denying you my love and attacking you, certainly you want me now.
Yeah.
I'm contracting and denying my love, so you should really want me now.
Yeah.
And when I was guilty, I did. When I was asleep, I did. I'd fall for it every time and then be begging for their forgiveness. Oh, please, please, please. You can control me. It's okay. I didn't mean it. You know. And so as you begin to wake up, you're around people who are assuming more responsibility for their happiness, and they won't stand for that crap. They just won't give in to your anger, and they won't give in to your guilt trip, and they'll still stay peaceful. And then your ego accelerates in anger because it thinks I'm just not angry enough. So if I just really, really get mad, then sooner or later you're going to give in and you're going to give me what I want. You know, but a conscious being knows that if they do that, it is taking their own power away in their own mind.
And jealousy kicks in.
Right, but jealousy is nothing but the fear of loss. All fear is fear of loss, the Course in Miracles says. And that makes so much sense to me. So whenever I say I'm afraid, I always follow it up with of losing something. Because when I say that, it makes fear make more sense to me. I feel jealous. Why? Because I think I'm going to lose. And I really think I value you, and I don't want to lose you. So even seeing correctly, even jealousy is a witness that that person thinks you're valuable to them, even if it's in a kind of a distorted way. You know, you just killed her. Why? Because I loved her. And so I always go, I hope nobody loves me that much. I hope there's not a person on earth that loves me so much that they would want to kill me about what I do with someone else. And you know, it's like, God, that's not love. That's fear. And so the Course taught me that what I was calling love was really just a very special appearance form of fear. It was just a real pleasant form of fear that I was calling love because I had too much anxiety about the possibility of losing it or not having it. So it really wasn't love, it was some really tender, juicy, pleasurable, sexy, passionate, hot fear. That's what it means to most people. It's just a ton of fear. And then after that connection happens, I'm scared to death that somebody else might have that connection, right? That's fear. That's not love. So I had to learn the difference between love and fear, and that's what the Course teaches, and that's what this is teaching. And I'm going to stop right now. It's 8 o'clock. Would we acknowledge us? Would we acknowledge us for even being willing to hear it? Whether we believe it or not. All right. Okay. Well, let me do the love offering, and then we're going to head out of here. Just a second. All right. You all always help me remember what it is I need to change in my own mind. So thank you for that. Very appropriate. Sunday, right here. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So you can get 2 hours of Earl if you show up in 1.
That would be a trip. Okay, so okay. What I want to say is this. Here we go. We're going to go through the process of creation, and I'm going to say it over and over again for a minute, and then we'll be able to finish. Okay. All right. Spirit comes before inspiration. Inspiration comes before imagination. Imagination precedes belief, and then belief precedes form. Belief precedes form. Belief produces form. Belief produces form. So what you want to do is know that whatever the form of your life is right now, it's coming from a belief. And before you had that belief, you imagined it. Because imagination precedes belief. And before you had the imagination, you had to have the inspiration. Something inspired you to imagine it. And when you imagined it, you started to believe it, and when you started to believe it, it became a form in your life. And before inspiration becomes spirit, and spirit is you are spirit. So everything starts with you and your inspiration, and then your imagination, and then your belief, and then that belief produces form. So I need new beliefs to produce new forms. Where can I get the new belief? I can get it from my spiritual path. Whether it's the Course of Love, the Course of Miracles, or anything else that you're studying. The most incredible beliefs and ideas and thoughts that you could imagine and beyond what you can imagine have already been given us. We just won't take the time to read, learn, meditate, study, and receive them. So everybody's trying to figure out what could be given and what's already given. You don't have to figure out anything. It's already, the truth is real. The answer is real. It's right here, right now. All you have to do, like the Course says, at least I can decide I don't like what I'm feeling right now, if there's something you're not feeling good about. And then you say, at least I can decide that I don't like what I feel right now, and so I hope I am wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. And perhaps there's another way to look at this. What can I lose by asking? Little simple stuff like that. Don't want to be right when you're miserable. Let go of the desire to be right when you're miserable. When you're miserable, say, I hope I'm seeing this incorrectly. I hope I'm not seeing the truth about you. That's what you do. You walk up to the person and go, you know, I hope I'm wrong about this. but this is what I'm feeling and seeing right now. Gets rid of a lot of defensiveness right then. I don't want to be right about what I thought I saw that's upsetting me right now. I hope I'm wrong about this. That's a lot better than you so-and-so, you did da 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 da. You know, so already the wall is up, the defense is up at the very beginning. So, you are innocent, you are loving, you are lovable, you are invulnerable, you are unlimited, you are beautiful, you are real, you are powerful, and you are juicy, and you are really cute. Okay, give it up. Give it up. Give it up. That's us. That's us. All right. Thank you, Holy Spirit.
Thank you.
You got it.